Hey everybody, how you doing? It is Mr. Bookman, and I will be reading The Library Fish Learns to Read by Alyssa Satin Capucilli and Gladys Jose. Please enjoy. The Library Fish Learns to Read. Library Fish loved her home on the desk of Mr. Hughes, the librarian. He was the perfect place to welcome every visitor to the library from where she sat. Library Fish would check each book that was borrowed or returned. Library Fish loved watching everyone wind through the bookshelves searching for just the right book. She loved the quiet hum of the room as each person settled into a comfortable spot to read. And read and read and read. Of course, when someone wanted to practice reading, Library Fish listened carefully. She never interrupted. Still, story time was always her favorite part of the day. Mr. Hughes read stories that made Library Fish quiver with excitement. Sometimes he read stories that made her laugh out loud. Today, Mr. Hughes held a book that Library Fish had never seen before. He read the title and the name of the author and the illustrator. Library Fish was all ears. Once there was a dog, Mr. Hughes began. He loved stories. Library Fish nodded. I love stories too, she thought. She inched closer so she could hear Mr. Hughes continue. Whenever he was listening to a story or looking through wonderful illustrations. Each and every book took the dog on a new adventure. Library Fish giggled. Me too, she thought. Stories have taken her in amazing adventures. What happened next, she wondered. One day the dog decided he would learn to read. Learn to read, whispered Library Fish. Go on, go on. It took a lot of time and patience, but after some time the dog began to read all by himself. Mr. Hughes had never turned the page when Library Fish wanted to clap. She wanted to cheer. She wanted to hear the story again and again. Most of all, Library Fish wanted to learn to read too. Library Fish swam around her bowl. She already knew the library was the very place to learn to read. She was surrounded by everything she needed to begin. Still, it would take some planning. Library Fish waited until Mr. Hughes called. Good night, Library Fish. Keep an eye on the library. Then she sprung into action, filled with all the possibilities of a great story. Library Fish was ready for her newest adventure, with plenty of hard work, determination, and of course imagination. Library Fish soon landed on the desk of Mr. Hughes with a triumphant splash. First stop, the alphabet, said Library Fish. Library Fish had listened to Mr. Hughes teach readers about the alphabet. Any numbers of times, the alphabet is made of letters. Mr. Hughes had said, letters make sounds when we string and wave and blend those sounds together. We get words. Words make stories. One by one, Library Fish studied the letters carefully. Hour after hour, night after night, she made sure she knew every letter and each sound of it made. F for fish was one of her favorites. Zzz were always welcome after a long night's work. In the morning, Library Fish was right there to open the library with a wiggle of her tail, even if she was a bit sleepy. Now, when books were bowered in return, she noticed every letter on the corners and every word. When the library closed for the night, Library Fish practiced and practiced each some more. In time, Library Fish found she could put letters together to make sounds. Fish, swish, swish. She could read small words too. Even her fishbowl was filled with words like glub, wiggle, and bubble. Library Fish practiced reading to her friend Bookmobile. She practiced reading to no one at all. And when someone wanted to practice reading to Library Fish, she listened with great attention, as always. Then she practiced reading right back in a very quiet voice, of course. Library Fish pored over pages after pages and book after book when she couldn't quite figure out a word. The illustrations were there to help her. Okay, so we've got an animal film here. Pretty much makes a balance. One night, Library Fish went up and down the aisles of the library in search of just the right book. She chose one carefully and settled into a comfortable spot. Slowly, Library Fish read one word, then another, then another. She read line from line, page from page. She giggled and gasped. She laughed out loud. When she came to the last page, Library Fish read aloud in her proudest voice, the end. It was only when the sun began to peak the sky, the library fish tucked herself into her bowl. She drifted off to sleep, muttering, "I am a reader, I am a reader." The next morning, Library Fish welcomed every visitor to the library. It was sure to be a busy day, but tonight, she thought, tonight might be the perfect time to share all I have learned with a good friend. She could hardly wait to begin. The bookmobiles. Wow. See that? The library fish was going to read to the bookmobile. Wasn't that pretty cool? Yeah, do you believe in fish reading? I don't. But hey, this fish could. But everybody, I hope all of you enjoyed this book reading, and if you did, can you go thumbs up? Smash that thumbs up button. Can you do that for me? I would love that if you could do that for me. If you're new and you came along this book reading, can you hit that red subscribe button down below? And subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos here. I got plenty of them. So feel free to check them out. Also hit that notification bell. Whenever I upload a video, you will be notified. But until my next book reading, they call me Mr. Bookman. And this book reading is over. Have a good one, everybody. And take care. And thanks for watching.